we are live. Ro pula pinaka na turanga na marama. Nimpula pinaka talaga na pararong ko may na singa pinaka ni ko bikem ni na pararong ko mengo si bikem ni na kay sara pa may baka malua na nito go live na singa ni ko. Datal na singa ni beba kararamataki may bakanto baka derti kaya ni na be madaw may be na nito group ni go live. Yan na boko ni kena baka titito kaya ni se ni beba kararamataki kaya na boko ni ndona business TV baki yana mona liba ni kuwa kero baka ni benaka patke di tal misa ni tiko na ni ro go live ni kuwa ndana ni to bulangi kito sureta mera me wasetu ngana na talano yana boko ni na business journey ni beranga ni to tiko na ni to bitalo ni kuwa kito ngandre me kito na biba bikile teki manda me kito pamadala teki to mera ni da bikile tiko ni bera ni kero na bataringi tiko na ni ro bulangi ni kuwa may beyo nga usama tika ni ngwana kono Canada ken singerege bukan tua na dang nga ulia udap tu mena korno ni mono berata te lebu ka tika ni ngwana kono Alberta Canada taka tiku ba ke giba ka ungara batal tinganda na ngo digital business ka se sota ba na bekira man dollar sambul karua awa taka tal tu ka may nonda tini baka baki baka ngas ni boli ni bera ni undia ba no mai na teni program sono slesar no ngono bital talamisa ni bera ni solite ko no ngono bana ni ro kulangi ni kwa naktal
na wale bulia na wale ni bolo bina na ito kani na kabina ni kwa se na ngona tabanga ni baro timikina na na wale besar na kabini ko ni mai ado talti undo na ngono bina ni bibara ramata ngoka na bu ni business na mona libo ka keto mai como vai te bitike tukin na tago nga misa ele usa au dabutu mana mai kandabu au susu mai mokani bau te lewu au wakawati na kelo uli bai na kelo te lewu au bosi wan takilo wan atala au ata talanga mai biti wa sotia oti oli taka na airport nandi berni dewe fi na Fiji Sugar Corporation ni berni ngai lako mai I Amerika kito bai tiku talanga ni ko Pacific Northwest I Tacoma Washington State kirau la rural be kirau nela ro samai baka talanga ka wal nata wal besar na kabin ko niren mai tiku ka timi talanga ka tiki talanga ni baka rara mataki na business na mona libo ngok na sarwani ulia
naktaltala sana salesar ngona be Mrs. Tabunakawai madam kira muni baka matala teke muni nga bale kaleka ni berni to sartiro ni kwa
Nako pakalibulia rombulo binaka lia batake talatala misa tali teke bion kumai join teke mroto kana kapnikua wambulu tali tungali wiki mnino baka rorong tiko mai kena ndo baka mureci kumai na bitala no eso ndo zakatiko na wata watango binaka pakalibu na lango Kesaia Tabunakawai au dabutu mena korko nukuni yoni anono ilau esano lau au samba kivitsu no vulkandua Samba kivitu talangango nung bulat tu meka pa pension irua na luibengo ro sa bakawati ro angkarap sikunan ro bubali walu na makumbungu ro tikuro ro ngaviti na luibengo reila ng business ngo na baki sawa tina bulo match totol sar na nunggu durukina balatani wa reila au Raila Urdurkina, I figured I can do this business and I was really impressed with the opportunities kwa offer Takanakango. So I think within the month I was already a distributor. Okay. Sinimani ngonsal dondo ngonsal. I think 4 months into the business, crashed no laptop, so I lost all my data. One of the good things about being this age, mature age, even though you worry and get overwhelmed, you are able to take it slow. So I decided to leave it and went off for 6 months. I did other things. And then I got myself another new laptop. So it was not until March this year when the Fiji Gather and Grow, tenta ko sangay boosta ka pakai meribut taktal nanunggu passion and activity into the business. So really, technically, I'm just 5 or 6 months into dedicating, daily to the business. Okay, sa ako itong baka nung introduction na sa palapan.
Navaleu, Mrs. Tabunakawai, nakabikim ni na barong ati kumay, kero baru tanga kita tala me da bisara taro kero no mikero tarong kem ni kina me bakani and ni rare ngam ni sar rare ni sapa madal te kem ni na tambe dem bagini bul ni sati ko kina ya ni sange me te ko butaka to na no ni business oro ni to ko na ndo sa viviva oti mai na vere ko ni taka de bikim ni na barong ati kumai ni na beba ungeti ni na beba bolei ni na baka berbaka sama tal ngabi kem ni na nito vital no na singani kuah. Ya, to sarang wala sa rabanda na matenitar medan ma baru tika na taro sana wili kita di babalangi kaya bata may bigyan mo ni nanomni so may as long as we get the message across to our viewers today. So that's the first question. Many people are skeptical when they first hear about online business. What were your initial thoughts and what helped you become more comfortable exploring this opportunity? Rabanda nga ni wasya bakalaki na nanomni talano.
Okay, nakalia nung gusto ni talagang doon na po sa atin na bibia lako tiko babalang ba vital tiko nga okay, just to say up front, I think given the number of online scams you hear about, you come across of people that we know that have been scammed, I think skepticism will be there by anyone coming across any online digital business, whether it's genuine or not. So I guess we should be expecting skepticism and as part of our response to our business, and we should prepare ourselves to answer that. I think very rarely we'll find somebody who comes in that has not been scammed or heard about any scam. So that is a reality of part of our business. So in my case, when I came across my mentor's post, I was actually fascinated by her story. It was about her son being rushed to hospital for an emergency, and in the process of her joining her son, instead of grabbing a handbag, she grabbed a computer bag because she was so engrossed with her own work. So it was the ride in the ambulance and the time that she spent in the hospital with her son that caused her to reflect on where she was heading, what she was missing, and all that. And that resonated with me, Nanonaka. So I actually jumped into a page, went through the webinar. I don't think I even finished the webinar. I wanted to know the nitty-gritty of the business. So I paid the $149. I went in and I went through, and I think the more that I went through the platform, I sort of figured out, hey, I can easily do this, even at my age. And then when it came to the compensation details, I think I was totally hooked, line, and sinker. From that point, there was no turning back for me. So I think within a month or maybe 6 weeks, I became a distributor. Yeah. So I think just a point to make here. So I had a little bit of money on the side, which was actually set aside for something else. But because I believed in this, I believed in my ability to operate this business from what was provided. Sa sinsambiw na commitment sa siphon off the money that I had set aside to pay for this business. But I think the good thing about that is once you invest, investment so that you make sure it works for you. So I think that's part of the driving thing for me. Yeah. So again, like I said, within 4 to 6 weeks, I was already. So for me, this business is real. It's got everything that it's going to provide for me. The things that I was hoping for and dreaming about. I know that if I put my all into this business, I'm going to get my investment repaid, and I'm going to benefit from it in the long run.
Thank you. No, vale. Thank you, Mrs. Tabunakawai. Sana sole naman ng gabi tal-tala. Nanotaro baro takati ko kwesa at pangori.
Nasalwale ulia. Nawale mo meron kesa na mapamadalaya ng matindi kataroya, matatawa binaksar nga. Kini karungan ni Nugutaro sa tonggor wiki muni as someone who have worked for so many years before retiring. What advice would you give to people who are relying on just one source of income for their future?
Okay. Pinakawali mo na taro ya. O na list talaman nga valilay murtale. So when I retired from my employment, I was leading a conservation organization regionally. So in terms of being paid, I think I was paid fairly well compared to the salary scales across the country. So for me, in terms of retirement, I was not smart enough to actually do studies and get myself prepared for retirement. So in my mind, okay, I've got FNPF. That's good. That's going to take care of me. Make sure I pay off my house. Make sure I pay off a car, and the possibility of leasing a piece of land to grow food. So that was about it in terms of retirement. But of course, when you come into retirement, the nitty-gritties of it, you tend to face it. So in terms of my FNPF, my pension, it was enough to give me a comfortable living monthly. So I've got money for food, I pay my water, I pay my electricity bill, I pay, because I own my own house, it was town rate, which was, I think, over 1,000, close to 2,000 a year. So that was comfortable. But in terms of owning a home, it's not enough just owning a home. You have to do 5 yearly maintenance. Otherwise, you lose the value of your house.
Right.
And then, as you know, if cyclones, if a cyclone had struck Fiji and damaged my house, I didn't have any money to repair. And at this age, we are the tendency to, to fall easily for any bug that comes out of us is there. So I didn't have emergency funds to take care of my hospitalization if they were. Then again, you think, I've got 2 children. They're working. They're looking after their families. Maybe they can help. I didn't want that. I didn't want to burden them with that. I wanted to be financially secure to pay for my own costs in time. Okay, so that got me. So a lot of before I answer the question, I mean, it's all leading up to it. One of the things now that I wish I had done when I was still working was actually to follow the changes that were happening within the FNPF thing. I know some years ago there was a lot I never actually followed it up. I said, okay, I've got money there, so I should be all right. But there were actually major changes that impacted us pensioners. I think I think if I remember rightly, it used to be 30% the value of your FNPF that you could earn many, many years ago. And then that constantly were cut down. And I've been reading up on the arguments on both sides by government and it's a good argument, but it seems like pensioners are on the losing side. Maybe that's a biased view. But right now, pensioners, that's the one I'm receiving, is only 8.7% of the money that you've gotten there for the rest of your life. That's what I'm getting. And there's no COLA, there's no adjustment to anything. So basically, with the rising costs all around you, that's all that you're going to live on until the end. So now I wish, had I known that when I was working and leading the organization, I would actually have organized my staff a lot better. And then when I think back, in fact, my Indo-Fijian staff, they were way ahead. They had all this sorted out. It was the Itoke staff. We were very passionate about the work that we did, and we jumped in. And pension in the later years actually never featured in our thinking.
Yeah.
But I wish I had known then what I know now. I would have organized things different. I would have brought in people to advise and actually not force, but make sure that the staff are looking at that and are making payments into that. So one of the provisions that government has, I think it's there, okay? You pay 8%, but you can raise it to 10%, your payment into your own FNPF. So I would actually ask everybody to take that, pay that extra 2% in building Kai. But that's not compulsory. 8% is compulsory. The 10% is Kai. Also, I think now, for those that have current employment, keep the current employment and use that to fund your use that. I think one of our earlier go lives, I think Leah, you had mentioned it. Use your current salary to fund your own other ongoing options. Because for me now, that's what's happening. So any costs that arise during the courses that I'm hoping to take, so I have to budget and cut down on my pension in order to be able to pay that, or I take consultancies, and consultancies actually beef up my income so that I'm able to do these things. So it's really good to have another stream of income to support this business, because there are costs that are going to come that you will need to pick up in the business year. So the other thing in reading all this and coming to terms with it, so these terminologies, investment and liabilities. Okay, so in my head before retirement, okay, I've got a house, I've got a car, I'm set. But these things are actually costing me now.
Yes.
and I didn't budget for that into my car. So if you don't do that, then you lose the value of your house. So by the time you leave it to your kids, I don't know how much it will be worth. It might not be worth their career. So those things I think are quite important for current people still in employment. Maybe they're smarter than I am. They figured this out, but I didn't until I retired. So knowing what I know now, that's what I would do differently for people if I were heading an organization. I'll bring people in to talk and then organize people to look at investments for themselves into the future. So relying on one income is not a smart move. Particularly now, I mean, in the best of times, and now with the things that are happening globally, and the way things are looking, it might even continue. So the pressure and the cost of living will probably continue to grow. So that's all the more reason why you should be looking at other income options. And I think this one is actually one of the best. You can't force people. You can only say what you see, what you're doing, and what you think, and hope that there's wisdom to pick that up and find that other option in this business.
If I know now what I should have known then, I would be a different person altogether, knowing exactly strategically what to do with my finance and my future. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leah.
Madam, such valuable advice there. Yeah, I hope that you will take note. Somebody who's been there, done that. Sa list with the gumana weekend na sila dagat ko ning gosya with the gumana nang tangon ni baka din. Anto to menta baka sa matagatik na nang the basic ni mataka. That brings us to the next question, madam. Can you just share with us what gave you confidence that this was a genuine business opportunity and not just another online scam? You was saying mantanga plan isora sa ready to gumana business opportunity ngora ready to gumana pamadala. Still, it's still not enough for them. Just share your story. Maybe it will help some of our viewers.
When I understood what the business was about, I figured I can actually do this in terms of the requirement to how to operate the business. And then when I saw the compensation table, there was no, even if it was a scam, I think I would have been totally one of those that went into the scam because I was definite. Besides, the platform has been going for 10 years. A scam wouldn't survive 10 years. And at the time I joined, we were 250,000. I think last year was about 250,000 people, members of the business. Now it's about 280 or close to 300,000 now. Okay. And the other bit for me is when I found out, when I read the story of the founders. I love these two guys and what they've done. I think you can't help you can't help but trusting them. And so my total trust was in them and what they built. And, it hasn't changed. It's actually growing every time we have a mastermind when I read their post. So that was the other thing. And the company that this platform is affiliated with is 50 years old. 50 years old, and I couldn't believe the age of the owner. What's his name?
Yashiro?
Mr. Yashiro. He's, in fact, both of them, they look so, they could be that age. So, so if that is a reflection of the product they are selling. So the other thing for me as well, for this journey, so even before this, I had been looking to buy a water purifier for my home. But every time I've looked it up online, it seemed too expensive for me. So it's been at the back of my mind. But when I saw that it was it was in the mix of products that you can invest in, that sort of sealed the deal for me as well in terms of partnership with the platform. And I think, even reading through the webinars and the financial freedom that members who have been in the business for 3, 4, 5, or even more years, when they tell their stories, you can't help be drawn to that and be taken along with that. And it's like you are already there with them in their journey. So it drives you, it keeps pushing you. So you tend to forget the barriers that you might have until you come back to reality. But you definitely get swept along with the hype, which is good because it keeps you buoyant and it keeps doubt at bay when you're doing this business, which is what you need a lot of. You need a lot of that uplifting. Yeah, I guess those were the things that that bolted me down to the business. I had already made up my mind. This is for me, and I put in the money, and there was no way I was going to turn back. I was going to make sure that I get my return from this in terms of my investment.
Thank you. Nakabale, Mrs. Tabunakawai, and I guess what you mentioned there was that you really did your due diligence. We came in about the classroom, and we just take little bit of the information, just those are a fraction, and you tend to make your decision from that small.
Right.
You try to get everything. We have the webinar. I just said, Mrs. Tabunakawai, she even went to see about the founders of the company that we work with and the founders of the 2 guys that built our automated system. And she got all that. And then going again to the products that we invest in. Kaya kakwati turo tunga bakalalain na no information mo kaya kakabatikyan na mo bakatuloy. Do your due diligence when we ask you to watch the webinar. There's a reason why we ask you to watch the webinar. It's always coming to your email if you register.
Sabi na bale, totoo bale about tinabibara with those 3 questions, Ms. Kesa Sambo Matatsaranga. I think if you're out there listening and if you're not encouraged, because what she has outlined here on this platform is very clear that due diligence is a must, and make sure that you get substance information before you make your decision in this regard to this business. Ma'am, na nagutaro nga about what has been the biggest surprise or the thing you've appreciated most since becoming part of this business community?
Okay, I think the people. The people is one of the main things. Okay, so I'll go back to my conservation people, the people I worked with in Dhaka. So I thought that group is actually a heart-driven group. They're full of compassion. And they do what they do. I think the last thing they think about is actually their salary and their cost, but they'll go out and do that. And it's actually globally. So I was nicely surprised to come into this business and find the same sort of compassion, the same sort of commitment to the businesses I found within the conservation sector, which was really quite funny because I didn't think you have that sort of thing in business, You think of business cold-hearted and competition and all that, but it was really, really nice to come in and see the same things, people working with their heart. So that was one of the nice surprise, and the fact that I worked globally in the conservation business. Same thing here, but different groups of people. So it was nice, because when you move away from when you retire, you sort of move away from that group. By virtue of the fact that you are not actively participating in the bigger picture. Okay. But it was nice to see that I fitted in back into that global scene within this business. So there's a lot of learning that I'm bringing in from this side of the business into here. Like I said, it's because it's heart-centered work in both. It's actually service to conservation work is actually service to humanity, to protect nature, so that nature can continue to support humanity. That's really why conservation and development is a big dual thing that I think every conservationist has to deal with, to make sure that they happen in a way that it benefits humanity and it benefits nature as well. So the service that is offered in this business is quite similar. So for me, that was a nice surprise, and I really, really liked it. Okay, and the amount of learning, that's happening in the. It's not a day that goes by that you don't learn anything. I heard something nice the other day, which was, what did you say? You learn to know so that you can decide. You learn to know so that you can do for yourself. And you learn to know so that you can teach others as a mentor. I said, that's really true. Firstly, you learn to know. And then you learn to know so that you can do it for yourself. And then when you're mentoring somebody, that you know what it is that you're going to tell that person when you're mentoring. And that, I think, is probably a daily thing. It's a thread in our daily lives. We learn, we do, and then we pass it on to not only to our mentor, but to anybody else that might ask you for help. And meeting, knowing, and working with people across the globe. I've mentioned that already. So that was a really nice surprise, and something that I really, really like, because that's part of what I had worked with in the past. I like the global community and the global work and support system that's in place.
Okay.
Thank you. Mrs. Tabunakawai. Yes. I love that you remind us of that, that this journey is, it's about so much more than just learning about the business. So much more than that. That's why we love staying in this community. I know I've been here for 4 years and over. It's about people, it's about the growth, the support along the way. Okay, now before we wrap up, Madam, I have a final question for you. Finally, if someone watching today and is curious about the business and is still curious, still hesitant to learn more, what would you say to encourage them?
So I was thinking about your question, and I was thinking too, so of the people that are watching, some would be very comfortable with their life now. They really they're not moved to do anything. So it'd be a nice thing to listen to, but they won't move. But I'm sure there are others that have had niggling thoughts in their mind about things that they probably can do. They're feeling the pinch. And then there are the young people who are actively dealing with the rising costs, plus the cost of maintaining family and sending kids to school, who are probably actively looking for another way. So my advice would be, please explore this opportunity. There's nothing that we can do to force you to do that. So it's listening to your inner self about what it is that you need now and into the future, and knowing what your situation is. And if you are grappling with those thoughts and those feelings, I would really, really urge you to tap into one of the websites of the owners and just check it out. You might be urged to move on to the next step, or you might say, okay, this is not for me, free to go back and, but give this business a chance, find out for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Tabunakawai. Thank you for sharing your story. This brings us to the end of our live session today. We want to thank you, madam, for your time, sharing your story and sharing your wisdom with us today. Bikim ni warong ti umay ke bakain dona kaurong ni kuwa paungeta na baungi tikina na lomo. Do not hesitate to reach out to any of us, and we can guide you into how to start your own business. Yes, me soli mandanga bakada ko na information mo ron yo kila na bika humanity ko na laman business to takango. Yes, sana may dapat kaya na nito biwa sini ko bago na tagaro to nagitokan ni bago na katal bikim ni nasarap ti ko man nito live session ko kikim ni nakisarap may baka malwa. Na bale bu tal misa na bale mi sistema na kawai kito sana baka mataliti ko yani may bikito nga ni kuha ni kalo nga tatiko ni mote pinakabakalevo.
Pinakalia, pinaktaltala.
Na wala